Alright, Shalom. I'd like to say Kahalayim, Wahawadla, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Rakakodash. Your double honors the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of well. Peace and blessing to the Akim around the world that push this truth to the four corners of the earth. Read this brother Yaba. So I'll go through a few precepts I'll entitle it. I forget it. Yes, no. I forget it, the title itself. Yeah. So your sacrifices and burnt offerings is yourself, just paraphrasing. I'll word it better. But just the concept of it. Right? Your sacrifices and your afflictions, you understand, is your burnt offerings in these times. Because before we used to do what? Actual sacrifices, animal sacrifices and so forth. But Mashiach was the ultimate sacrifice, and now we had to follow in that same footstep. Right now, we is the sacrifices. You understand? So I'll go into it more. So there's I believe it's Psalms 51. It's Psalms 51. I'll start from 16. Right? You say, "For thou desirest not sacrifice, else I would give it. Thou delightest not in burnt offerings." The really and truly, the burnt offering system was set up for what? For when you do something wrong, right? That was for you to atone for your wrongs. But really and truly, obedience. You understand? Doing the things of the Lord, giving up your desires to do what the Lord said to do. All these things are more desirable to the Lord than burnt offerings. You understand? You being afflicted in these times, afflicting your soul. These are things that the Lord delights in. You understand? Not just burning sheep and goats. We are the sacrifices, right? The things that we have to go through in this truth. You understand? The afflictions that we have to face, being purified, as the scriptures talk about. Being going through that trial of fire. These are the things that the Lord delights in, right? And that is a sacrifice of what? Of ourselves, going through that hardship, giving up our desires to please the Lord and so forth. It say I read it over 51:16. It say, "For thou desirest not sacrifice, else would I give it. Thou delightest not in burnt offerings." The sacrifice of the Most High is a broken spirit and a broken and contrite heart. O power, thou wilt not despise. Now you look up that word contrite, right? You look up that word contrite. It's a feeling of showing sorrow and remorse for a sin or shortcoming, and that is the mindset you're supposed to be in. You understand? Well, like whenever you transgress against the Lord, you're not supposed to look at it like small thing, yes? Like how these Christians just think, like small thing. Well, everybody has sin. No, you're supposed to be sorrowful. You're supposed to be in the mindset that you're feeling bad for what it is you do. You understand? As like I just always say, whenever the Lord tells you to do something and you don't do it, you should never watch it like small thing. Like, now it's true you can't be overzealous. The scriptures say not to be over righteous. But at the same time, you're not supposed to watch it like, like transgressing against the Lord is a light thing, like, like whatever. No. That is not the mindset you're supposed to be in. These are the things that the Lord delights in. Right? We got next scripture. I got Romans. So Romans 12 verse 1, it says, "I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Yahweh," which is the Most High's name in Hebrew, Yahweh, and his son's name in Hebrew is what? Yahweh Shai. Right? It says that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service. And that is what we had to be, that living sacrifice. Just like Mashiach was a sacrifice, we had to be a sacrifice also, but in a different way. Some of us might have to do it in the same way, whereas you might have to actually be killed. Or so, not in the same, but similar. But we had to be a sacrifice by going through these things. You understand? By being humble and going through the afflictions that we had to go through. And giving up our own desires to actually do the things of the Lord. You understand? To do the things that the Lord delight in. Verse 2 is say, and be not conformed to this world. I have a reason why the scriptures tell to do that, because the scriptures say, well, a man cannot serve two masters. Right? You can't be a friend of the world and a friend of the Lord at the same time. The scriptures say, use the world but not abuse it. So you could be in the world, but don't be of the world. If a person could understand what I mean. You understand? You're living in the world, you have to utilize certain things in the world, but do it according to righteousness. Do it according to the instructions of how the Lord tell you to do it. Don't be like everybody else and being wicked, and let your justification be that, where you're living in the world, say how to do it. No, you don't. No, you don't. Not because you're living here like sinners, that means you have to be like them also. Right? They say, and be not conformed to this world, but ye be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High. And that is what we just do by going through these things. By doing the will of the Lord and going through these afflictions, we showing what is that perfect will of the Lord. Right? It said in 1 Peter 1 verse 7, it say, I'll start from verse 6, right? 1 Peter 1 verse 6, it say, wherein ye greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, because it wouldn't happen, 24/7. Sometimes will be a situation you might go through, you might get ease of, you might go through something else, or sometimes it might really be something that you might be going through constantly, like probably a thorn in your flesh, some kind of sickness, probably financial issues. Only the Lord will determine, what, when, and how long, and so forth. Right? Though now, for a season, if need be, ye are in heaviness through manifold temptation, which is what all the hardship you had to go through. The people just get the idea that when it is you come into the Lord, like everything just be nice and you just get blessings and you just get rich and bountifulness, and that is very far from the truth. You understand? You had to be afflicted. How do you be afflicted? The scriptures talk about what? Picking up your cross. And that cross represents what? Affliction, hardship. When the apostles left all the things that they were doing, they didn't leave to follow the Lord for bountifulness on this side. No, they had to give up everything that they had. Some of them had money, a lot of money, and they had to give up all of that. And they had to live how he tell them to live, no matter what condition they had to go through. They had to go through the affliction. You understand? They had to give up, they had to sacrifice their own desires to do what the Lord told them to do. And they had to go through the affliction. That was their sacrifice. You understand? Giving up their own desires, giving up what they wanted to do what the Lord said, and going through the afflictions that they had to go through. It say, verse 7, right? It say that the trial of your faith being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire. And how it being tried by that fire, by that affliction, by that hardship. You understand? By all them temptations that you'll go through, and you had to resist them temptations. All of these things is a part of the sacrificial process. It's a part of the trial. Right? There's a part of your purification process, but it's something on a spiritual level. You understand? Not something a carnal person could see and understand. Right? It say, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearance of Yahushua Mashiach. Really and truly, being tempted and be able to resist temptation, you understand, you actually prove your worth. You understand? If a man have a wife, and the wife was never put into any kind of situation where you can really see if she's a loyal wife or not, then you can already say what it is you have. But the minute you lose your job and you realize all of a sudden she get a pen pal, you understand, or she gets somebody to drop she from point A to point B because you can't do it anymore. That is when you're ready. See where you have. When you're going through hardship, when a person going through hardship, that is when you're ready. See the kind of individual they really have. That was something even Job himself witnessed when Job was going through his trial. Where your wife tell him curse the Lord and die. But he probably never see something like that from his wife before that situation. Why? Because things was nice. The minute hardship hit is when he realized the weight is he really had. But he didn't know that before. Or probably didn't know that before. You understand? It has really take trials and hardship to really prove a person, to see weight is in a person's heart. And that's what the Lord does put you through, these fiery trials, this hardship, to really see what it is about. To prove what he know what it is about, but to prove what it is about, if you're really done for the Lord or not. So we have to go through these things, all of this, and that is just one reason why. Is many reasons why we just go through these things. You understand? To prove us, to see if you're really done for the Lord or not. You understand? Also, because we have to answer for a lot of things that we did in life. You understand? As I was thinking, meditating on just yesterday, I think it was, and I was saying that it's not because the Lord forgive you for something that automatically mean that you wouldn't have to answer for it in some way, and we just still be punished for the things that we did that was wrong. So all of that is calculated into it also. So when it comes to proving us, being punished for your wrongs, you understand, just going through the affliction as the scriptures talk about, to be tried, all of these different things is a part of the purifying process, right? And we is that sacrifice. It had to happen to us as individuals. We going through that burn, that fiery trial. So the Deuteronomy 8 verse 2 it say, and thou shalt remember all the day which the Lord thy power led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee and to prove thee, right? To prove them. To know what was in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no. So you'll see all those Christians who just be going to church for the purpose of receiving riches, and majority of them does never get it. What is the reason for that? Because you just going to the Lord because of where you could get. Imagine a servant going to the master to be served. You're retarded. You understand? The servant let's go to the master to do service, not to be served. The whole concept of Christianity is retarded. And that is things that their pastors that's encouraging them in. Why? Because they're not leading them the correct way. They're not teaching them their role. Right? It said in 1 Samuel 15. I'll start from 20, right? 1 Samuel 15 verse 20 say, and Saul said unto Samuel, yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and have gone the way which the Lord sent me, and have brought Agag the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. But the people took the spoils, sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed. So the people took the things that should have been utterly destroyed to sacrifice unto the Lord thy power in Gilgal. But they wasn't instructed to take the spoils. They were instructed to destroy everything. But they did their own thing. You understand? They didn't do according to what the Lord said. And obedience is a serious thing when it comes to this truth. It's not about how you want it done. It's about how the Lord wants it done. Even if you might want something different, you have to sacrifice your own desires to do it how the Lord said to do it. All of that is a sacrifice that people can't be able to make, because people always like to look towards their own likes instead of what they are told. You understand? All these things are part of the sacrifice. Giving up yourself, giving up your rights. You understand? Going through these afflictions and dealing with it. All of these things is a part of the sacrifice. It's self-sacrifice. Right? It say Samuel 15 verse 21. It say, but the people... Oh yeah, I'll read that slack here. 22. It say, and Samuel said, had the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord. You understand? So people who just feel like they could disobey the Lord and do whatever it is they want, but because they give some charity, they feel like going and clear the name. No, it don't work like that. It does not work like that. A man who can't give any charity but disobey the Lord will be better than somebody that could give charity and disobedient. You understand? It does not work that way. Obedience is more important. And the scriptures is telling that in many different places. Right? Right, read it over. It say, and Samuel said, had the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? It say, behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and the punishment of which was supposed to be what? Burnt. Right? Let us show you how much the Lord don't like rebellion. So when brothers being rebellious towards the Lord and what the Lord say to do, when wives being rebellious towards the husbands, when children being rebellious towards the parents, this is not something that the Lord does look at in a light manner. You understand? The Lord doesn't look at these things in a light manner. These are things that you have to be very particular and careful about. It say, for rebellion is as a sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he had also rejected thee from being king. And a lot of our people today are rejected also. Why? Because they're rebellious. Because they don't want to sacrifice. They don't want to be a sacrifice. They want the Lord to just give them, and they don't give up anything for it. You understand? They just want to do what they want, when they want, how they want, to their liking, and they must be rewarded for it also. That is the mindset of our people, and they are going to be destroyed for that. You understand? For not wanting to be that sacrifice. Anyway, I feel before close off, let me read that definition. Sacrifice. It's say an act of offering to a deity something precious, which is, yourself, right? You're offering something precious, which is yourself, and something will be considered precious to you as an individual is your own desires. You understand? Sometimes even your peace of mind. My peace of mind is something very precious to me, and it's something that has been disrupted very much in this truth. But that is a part of the process. That is something I had to give up, right? It's the killing of a victim or an altar, or that is the long time sacrifices. It says something offered in sacrifice. It's the destruction or surrender of something. It's the destruction or surrender. To surrender something for the sake of something else. And why it is we surrender, giving up these things, because we know that we have a greater reward to receive faith. You understand? These are things that you just have to keep in mind, right? It says something given up or lost. Just like how I just say, when a woman getting married, when it is you getting married, one of the first things you have to understand is that if you understand how marriage does really work, really and truly, you giving up your rights, because now you have a man not over you, and you have to do what he says, whether it's desirable to you or not, because not everything your husband will tell you to do you would like, and that goes on the level of any mastery. If you're under a company, if you're under a government, not everything that the person over you tell you to do you would like, but you still had to do it. You understand? That is how these things does work. Say what? Sacrifice means what? Loss. To give up, right? To offer as a sacrifice, to suffer loss. To suffer loss of, give up, renounce, injure, or destroy, especially for an ideal belief or end. So these things, when you reading definitions to words, has really help you to understand things. To sell at a loss. It say to advance. A base runner, right, by means of a sacrifice hit. Is it not to kill the animal, to make or perform the rite of a sacrifice. So that'll show you how important sacrifice is. Sacrifice is something you have to go through in this truth, and we are that sacrifice. So you have a lot of stuff that why did it say the truth is not for everybody, because not everybody could sacrifice, not everybody could give up. You understand? Not everybody could go through the afflictions that you has had to go through in this truth. The scriptures talk about that, like in Mark 4, where it talk about the parable of the seeds, right? Anyway, I don't make it too long. I'll post edifying with that. I say shalom.